And start our first meeting. We'll call the meeting to order. Good evening, everyone, and we're so excited for Robin to now which is in service. So we'll go ahead and begin.
Mr. Wallow.
Here.
Mrs. Slately. Here. Mrs. Smith.
I'm looking at the place for the minor agendas. Sorry, here it is. Okay, I got it. All right, we'll go ahead and approve the agenda. It was submitted to us. Is there a motion to do that? Moved by Jackie, seconded.
I was second.
Seconded by Israel. We'll have roll, please.
Mrs. Lee. Yes. Mr. Wallow.
Yes.
Mrs. Smith.
Yes. And we will continue the approval of the minutes for our April 18th meeting that Kelsey had submitted to us. Thank you for Kelsey, you're also about that. Is there a motion to approve those minutes? That's Jay and Israel. Very good. And we'll have the roll for that.
Mrs. Lee. Yes. Mr. Wallow.
Yes.
Yes. We would next ask for the sponsorship report. We know that Steve's going to unfortunately move on to another job before he goes to another event. So,
well, everybody, I don't have to report. The one thing that I do have to report is that we had a second site visit, which would be compliance related, especially to month. But Dr. Tice came to me and said I need help because she can't be in two spots at once. So I am the Hobie principal designee, so I'll be at a Hobie with the time we were supposed to be. So I am graciously moved our second site to Thursday. Apparently, no jury duty for me. I have to call tomorrow night. I have to sit down and fun. And it is illegal, so it's this district. So we will kind of play that by ear, but OTES is finally finished. So now the compliance site visit is of very, very big importance to get done. I want everyone to know that it's not full compliance visit. I don't know if I spoke on this last time. I think I might have a third of compliance is what we have to do. And we don't have to upload, but our council just wants us to make sure it's there if anybody would ask. So Ryan has looked through things. I'm assuming that maybe like the credit card points report order is something that we need to maybe get done for the compliance. So Ryan's definitely on top of things, and the way we restructured things last year will really help us out to probably get this done in a couple hours instead of a complete.
If there is anything that's missing as we go through this, we can always just make sure we approve it at the June meeting.
Yeah. This upload, if we had to upload, this upload would not be until June. At this point, we don't have to upload it because of already something we said, but that's what our deadline would be. So, any questions?
None.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you
very much.
Robin. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah.
Do we have any public participation from the audience here? If not, I encourage anyone who might be watching our broadcast to be sure to contact Ryan or myself via our site for any input you'd like to provide. Under our board member liaison reports, I'd just like to again acknowledge Robin. I'm going to turn things over to Ryan here, and we just thank you and years of service. You've given us the dedication and just your care about what we do here at school. Yeah, from the bottom of my heart. So thank you so much. I wish the room was filled with people.
And I second with Gene that, we, for 9 years here, you have faithfully served our students, their families, and our staff, and we can't thank you enough. Whatever needed done, Robin always knew what needed done, she took care of it. We can always count on things to get done, so just extremely great your service, and I wish happiness retired then.
Thank you. It's been a wonderful place to work, especially in here in Galway. I'm excited.
And then it's what on. Hopefully, I think right. I have to say that if I brought some cookies and things, so come over quick and grab a cookie. We're gonna pause it here. We thank you, Robin. Thank you. I did.
Oh, isn't that pretty? Oh. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Lots of colors will go with everything. Very good. All right, we'll proceed on now with our board member and liaison reports. I had nothing of legislation other than please be checking your OSDA emails because a lot is happening legislatively, some good, some not so good. So I almost contacted people last week, but then they were table. So you may be hearing from me, they can make contact with your legislators. Does anyone else have other reports?
I have none.
No? Okay. We'll move on to your report, Kelsey.
Under information items, the first one discussed is our grant audit updates. So following the financial audit, we usually have a grant audit as well. Past 3 years on separate consolidated SROs. Last year we were looking at get self-survey. I'm very happy to report we got in this year. I did go through the process. This year they really know the same things as me because last year I uploaded everything. They said don't upload, I just put it to the side in case anybody would ask for it. So similar to what Steve said we're doing, I did that same thing process. And complete, so they've been submitted, we're all done with that. As for our credit card rewards report, the same as last year, we currently do not receive any credit card rewards. I included the description of the cards, and we have the business card, and so if you flip through the descriptions, or I guess if you look at the chart, you'll see we don't get any rewards. So we just have the business. If you flip it over to the chart, we're all the way to the left. So we don't get any rewards, we can't redeem any rewards, we just have the benefits at the bottom. If there are questions on either of those things, we can move on. The front of your packet is our client agreement with Strategic Management Solutions. They handle our e-rate reporting and they help us with our bank application. That this is something that we really yearly. You'll have to flip quite a ways through that to get to our cash reconciliation. It's pretty thick. Cash reconciliation will be our next item. You can see we ended the month of April with $6,776,000, $76.99.04. As for our disbursement summary, the next report, there's a couple of things I want to point out. If you look all the way to the right, and it's about 6 up from the bottom, we've got a $13,899 charge to the treasurer. That's our first big audit expense. To the bottom, we'll be moving 2 up, got 151,000 to the DMV Corporation. That's the work order we approved at the last board meeting. Other than that, there wasn't anything that I thought was out of the ordinary. If there's no questions, our disbursement summary, like take a look at our outstanding disbursement summary. So we discussed bringing on cleaning up our outstanding disbursement. Top two have been cleaned up on the 12/30/2021 and the 6/2022. They confirmed that we don't owe that much. So what happened was we just receipted it in as a reduction of a prior year expenditure. Now these were under two funds. So I'm working with ODE on whether we need to adjust our expenditure report or not. I have a Zoom conference scheduled tomorrow with them. Even think that since our reports from last year weren't impacted at all, it probably won't need redone, but I'll keep you updated on it. Next, we can move on to our spreadsheet. The end of the month of April was $199,065 surplus revenue above. You can see in the right, 28,170 under other objects. That's our audit expenses. We kind of been talking and share how these will start to catch as we get those expenses. And if you look bottom left, you'll see we've jumped up 75%. We would expect about 83% at the end of April, so we are well with where we were budgeted to be, I should say. Our revenue, we will take a look at our state summary again, as we always do. Our revenue is again coming in higher than what it projected even last. We've gone up a little bit, so our revenue is still, as you can see in the top left, sitting very well. In comparison, projected to be at 80.33%. We're well above that in all the categories. Now, I did not go through and adjust much in revenue as we talked about. We kind of left it there for the most part at the beginning of the year, so it is becoming in high, but we like to see that. We'd like to see that our revenue is higher than what we thought. So, as for the end of this year, we're definitely coming in a good place. Does anyone have questions over this? Next, we can look at our education payment. For the month of May, for our retirements, we received $424,760.20. You'll find that in the bottom right, just color in the bottom. And the next two sheets are actually our summary, and these are what we compare every month. So I've got April month, and then I've got May this month, and this just shows where we're projected to be at the end of the year total. At the end of April, they were telling us that we were going to come in at $4,992,793.54 of revenue. That's prior to our ODE paybacks, so it doesn't net that, but that's what we're projected prior to the past. May has gone up. We are at $5,031,779. As far as it goes, those numbers are very promising. There's a discussion of the formula being adjusted slightly in terms of base salary estimates for teachers and things like that, but they haven't implemented anything yet. They haven't set that in concrete yet. I'm told that the funding is going to stay relatively solid in the next year. I don't think it's going to be any huge changes. I will update it as I hear news on that. Finally, we got our 5-year forecast, but I actually gave you a separate one, and I'd like to with that one. I made some small adjustments this morning, so I printed a different one. Now, as always, our 5-year forecast is conservative. So one thing I'm looking out to you in the forecasted section under fiscal year 2023, you can see I have our revenue projected below the $5 million that they projected after this at. We have an FTE review this year. I'd like to remain cautious in case of any chance of payback, anything of that nature. So I'll send just a little under. Supplies got about $407,000 for this year. That's where I project this at. We had talked in the last time we looked at our 5-year forecast about how that included the $130,000 purchase for the emergency connectivity funds. I didn't lower it in coming years because we are gonna need to maintain our book program, and as far as what David has informed us, we were having a hard time getting the back from students that get withdrawn, students that graduate, things like that. So I wanted to keep that relatively high, just make sure that we can maintain the program. We are likely to have Chromebook fixes in the future, so. We do have part of our ESSER3 budget set aside for that, but not 135,000, so they're likely will be funds out of the general fund, I anticipate.
If I can just jump in there too. Chromebooks have a built expiration date, that's why we're going to forward. We had our first batch we bought in 2020 actually expired in 2020. That's actually $300. We're getting a lot of heat from this in the media because so many Chromebooks were purchased during the pandemic. So I have my fingers out there and extend that. I can see that happening in the future. I don't see the rate. Because it's hard, it's actually hard built to the metal in place. I noticed that the ones we purchased lately have longer span. The ones that we purchased just made that probably built in 2019. Only have a 5-year lifespan. And then they're grass. So it's one of the reasons they're meant to be disposable, but a lot of them are working.
After 5 years, what happens?
They go to end of life, and then they're not security licensed.
Oh, okay.
I think what a lot of us do is the kids end up keeping the Chromebook, right? They have like an agreement, they graduate, and then and that's probably because they go out of life quickly.
So they're giving the kids something that they're not gonna be able to
They
continue.
can use it, but it's really in an enterprise situation, but in a home situation, it's a little different. Like an enterprise situation with devices. Comments, that means that's back to work for the factory. The stakes are a little higher for us.
Yeah.
Expire.
More than I'm getting yourself.
Correct. It's techniques.
Below the supplies, you'll see capital outlay, we're at about an estimate of 250,000. That's some of our renovation purchases so far this year. You'll recall that in our expense include all expenses out of the general fund and the grants, and then down below you'll see I included our grant reimbursement. So we include all the expenses, that way when we apply the grant reimbursement, we're not overestimating our funds. We also purchased land, which was capital outlay. And you'll see in the fiscal year 24, we've got a large capital outlay purchase. That'll be the rest of the renovation. It's possible that some of it will fall more this year than next year. We've got $1 million budgeted. It should, between the 2 years balance out. The coming years, $25,000 in capital outlay for any contingencies. If we would have to buy a large piece of equipment, let's say like the oven mat, the refrigerator, I'd keep a contingency fund for that kind of expense. Still in fiscal year 2023, you'll see other debt of $380,709. You'll see that number on your state foundation, and that's what we're paying back to the state. Another important note is in fiscal years 25, 26, and 27, you see our grant reimbursement drops significantly. That's the end of the ESSER funds. That number right there is us operating under the assumption that we get our grant allocations for fiscal year 4, that they're gonna come in smoothly. If they would have been drastically lower for some reason, just know we obviously get less, we have less money to spend. But with our enrollment staying pretty steady, we're anticipating similar amounts. And then finally, in fiscal year 26 and 27, you will see a slight deficit. This is significantly more promising than we looked at previously with the formula holding strong, our revenue holding strong. This is a lot more promising. Still definitely something to keep in consideration. Once the ESSER funds go away, we are still looking at a deficit. Fiscal year 26, not nearly as large as fiscal year 27. Under the assumptions, some of the important expense assumptions that were made were that there were steps given every year. As well as next year, I have the medical rate increase at 3.61%. Years after that, I still left it at a 50% increase. I would rather overestimate that than under. So you will see the benefit amounts jump. And then one other thing that I estimated was with enrollment, I gave a slight increase. I was very conservative with this. In fiscal year 26, 27, I only went up to 400. I think we definitely have potential to grow past that, but in conservative. But with assumption of that slight, I did also add in the budget for fiscal years 26 and 27, should there be need to add a new teacher. I did not budget for, you know, like, 20 years of experience and full family insurance. I budgeted somewhere in that average, not a huge expense, but necessarily for bringing somebody in at the lowest level either, just to keep that in the ballpark. And then our purchase was also, I the sound cost for our guidance counselor position that we are purchasing.
Remember on that, the majority of that position is being paid for a grant at 5 years with the other area schools.
So where is that at then? What's it under purchase services?
Yeah, so the purchase service, you can see this year at 700,000. We talked about some of our purchase services, such as advertising, potentially some consulting. But then you see it goes up. So it increases 15,000. Our expense is going to be about 18, but with cutting out and then adding. So it jumps a little bit. And then also, if you want to go down one section under purchase services. Salaries and wages and a few benefits, there's 20,000 as estimated there for our portion of the North Point.
I could.
So you'll see that's not there in 23, but then starting next year, we got it. And
Yeah.
that's only 4 years as well. The next 2 pages of our forecast really just outline our assumptions. They go through pretty much what I just walked you through. Does anybody have any questions?
No, other than just pointing out the projection of FTE. You're looking at under the staff enrollment total student FTE, you're projecting to be 400.
So that's not our enrollment.
Right, that's our FTE.
Yes.
And that's compared to what we have this right now is 388.
Yes.
That's where it was on.
Yes. So I put 395 on there. Just it fluctuates month to month. You know, we have some graduates that might bring our average down a little bit. And I'm very conservative with project growth. I would like to see it happen in a month before I predict it.
Right. I think that that's a good idea, don't you guys, to stay conservative with that.
Right.
So we know what we got in terms of spending potential.
Beyond the 5-year past, the only other item under my report is resolution to authorize the treasurer to have employee dishonesty and faithful performance review policy and move on. So we discussed this a little bit, I believe, but I just would like to go back over it and kind of explain. So typically I will bond and we can take credit, we pay a small amount, but typically what happens is if something were to happen, the bond would cover that large expense that shouldn't have paid or that was wrongly spent, but then they come after personally. So what our rep recommended to me, he's our crime liability insurance, is that Ohio has since changed the requirement that a treasurer can actually utilize the crime liability insurance instead of a bond, and they would never come after personally. So it's a question for me, but it also is still protection for Townsend. Townsend is still covered by the insurance. I did verify it with our attorney as well, and she let me know that it's okay via our policies and state law. So the board is okay with that. I wanted it to be a voting item. I didn't want to just make any assumptions, but that's what that item entails.
It's important that actually be in play.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I think that's all I got.
Are there any questions?
I'm not.
Okay. Hearing that, we'll have a motion to approve items A through F the treasurer's report. Jen, you're on the phone call. All right, Anna, Israel. Okay, we'll have your roll, please.
Mrs. Lely. Yes. Mr. Long.
Yes.
Mrs.
Yes. We'll move on now to the superintendent's report and our recommendations.
Thank you. We took care of item A there under information items. Let's move on to B, review of enrollment data. So we, this is as of the update. This is that I shared with my right board last night as well. Our enrollment as of yesterday was 515 students. So again, very steady getting to the end of the school year. Right around that number, or take 20 or students. We have the highest number in Vermont as usual with 90 students. We have Norwalk, our second largest with 69 students, and we have Sandusky City Schools district with 54 students. That has remained consistent.
And Brian, what do you project as far as graduations between now and, do we have any idea about what the total may look like?
So Terry has worked with the teachers, create a spreadsheet to identify the potential graduates. We have 57 graduates as of today. You know how many? 74 potential. So 74. That's key. There we go.
Okay, right about.
Yeah, anticipated before we start school next year.
Okay,
So that's understanding that quite a few of them go in summer.
So we could have, 120, maybe 130 graduates by the start of next year. That's best case scenario.
okay. And that's what and how does that compare to previous years? That's
Last year we had like 104.
pretty
We're looking over for a
120.
end of that time. I'd have to go back and look at my document. Like,
I mean,
I
of
know,
course,
so-
down from what we used to have and.
Sure.
COVID year.
Sure, but like compared to right. That's what I'm thinking, just as the
I
numbers
mean,
came.
with the big, like retirement shifted and everything, and then the different pathways, the rise up pathway really helps.
We have one next year.
Okay, all right, well, that's good. We're keeping right up with that, that's great.
Are there any other
Thank you.
comments on the enrollment data?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Moving on, we have item C, construction project update, a few updates from John. I asked him to provide us with updates here as we get through the summer. He said, and I'm asking about this because we have a state of the 12th round, he said that the schedule would start on site June 6th. So maybe there's some prep work that they're looking at doing that would not necessarily interfere with our operation. That would be a few things we need to do. We're looking at a potential garage sale on Wednesday, June 7th to get rid of some of the furniture that's very worn and has liquidated down to a zero value. So if they need to get in here sooner, we're going to need to reevaluate that. So I'm waiting on a why from it. They need to be more than 7 or not necessarily.
Did you say we should have a report? We talked about it?
No, that's just an email.
Oh, okay. Okay, so give me the date.
He said, date is scheduled to start on June 6th with mobilization to start demolition. So that's a little ahead of what we were anticipating. So I'm going to, like I said, following with them. I'll see if that's necessary. Looking at June 12th. Metal side installation work once enough rooms are available to start continue unabated. They did send us a potential site for 2 dumpsters they want to put outside the building. With the dumpster, they want to put them on the side of the building, one towards the front, one towards the back. So I sent that picture of Margaret to make sure that next Smith we're fine with that location, because there's a chance dumpsters could stick out a little further than vehicles. Almost kind of almost the road pathway there. I need clarification that they're okay with that before we give it their thoughts on that.
Yeah. We wouldn't be able to put anything in the parking lot.
We possibly could, maybe on the side. We'd have to look at some of the back. Actually, the back, it's probably that road, it opens up.
It does.
Back, so it's probably less issue back.
Yeah.
As opposed to.
No, no, no.
He also said that the doors are scheduled to be delivered third week of June, and then doors, hardware, and glass will follow that. Not be too much glass, so it's talking about the glass.
Well, good, he was able to get that product then.
It sounds like, yeah.
Right.
Those are all the updates I have in terms of construction project. Any questions on that? Okay, so D there, use science data update here. When we pull this is in your folder as well, which in turn for more provided. But we got to here, 98 students have completed their youth science brain games this year. So the games consist of 11 different games where, you know, students work through these. The games are able to determine what the students' aptitudes or strengths are in terms of careers, but also the tests and games that students are doing also helps to identify their interests as well. So we ideally for students, we want to align their strengths and their interests, attitudes, and interests. So we've got them down here. You can see different columns on the left. We have the numbers of students whose aptitudes fit each categories, science, arts and media, advanced manufacturing, and so on there. And on the right, we can see that the interest level, number of students that were interested in careers. So you can see some are good at math, some were heavier on strength, or heavier interest as opposed to. For example, teaching. 39 of the 90 students had an interest in teaching, whereas 20 of them the test results showed that they had an aptitude or that was a strength there. So then this data was used for the career fair that 22 of our students went to yesterday in Kalahari with other Erie County schools. And this was a fantastic event that Fireworks Board put together, which is just tied to the Erie County Business Advisory Council that I'm a part of. And they had business there from all over Erie County. And the business grouped into different groups. John was worker, and students had stickers on the bad, and based on if you had green and yellow for the first session with the green area and meet with those employers. And then the second session, the yellow section, and with those employers, and those colors were matched up with their youth science status. So they're trying to give students exposure to careers in alignment with activities and interests. It was just a fantastic event. Our kids really enjoyed it, and I think they made some connection as far as interest. I know the one student I had to run into London to pick one of our students up because the bus driver called off yesterday. We didn't have that bus on. We had some students that way that signed up for the event. So I went and picked up the student in London and took him from there. You know, talking to him back, he was really interested in well after going to the event and connecting with Bo Meyer today. So students as well gave us positive feedback. It was an overall great event.
Were there certain grade levels that could attend?
It was up to each
junior
school to kind of determine that. I know Margaret, I think took juniors and seniors, and he was there, saw her yesterday. But for us, it was more, I think, whoever we could.
who
One completed their new science.
Yeah, we had some freshmen. They had some requirements to do, they could go, they had to complete new science, if they worked on resume building, you know what I mean, so it wasn't the, hey, you get to go, you know what I mean?
But even still.
And then
you know.
getting their parents to sign paperwork because sometimes our parents aren't aged as they are.
Yeah.
And then typical setting, but like.
Oh, that's great.
When they had a school that they matched and like.
Yeah, full that we had purchased. Everybody for the
Good.
same great full was yesterday. That's sharp. That's a great experience.
So I'm curious, I know one of the things we talked about was like arts and media. it look at the attitudes as well as the interests that reflect needs in terms of curriculum.
Yeah, and that actually was one thing that we are looking for next year. So we have started the discussion. Right now, we've got what we call Thunder Time. And we strictly Thunder Time for more, I would say, test prep, getting kids ready for the math, the English, English exams. We do other things though with the others as well. But we've kind of shifted, and this all ties to our one plan that we created. We're kind of shifting, looking at using that plan next year for community clubs for a half hour. And we are in the process right now of getting feedback. Karen actually got a survey yesterday, was it? To get that gauge that interest from our students as well as feedback from our staff in terms of what clubs we can add that would align with what students are interested in. You know, we talked about art club, we talked maybe about the fitness club, where students go there to weight room for a half hour. We've talked about a gaming club, journalism club. So a lot of good ideas so far, but we want to see where the student interest is and try to
We're
find
also,
some.
we're tying some of the expired Title IV funds. So the goal is to figure out these clubs and the necessary expenses that the teachers. And just the Title IV access to a well-rounded education, because right now we don't have access to music or those kinds of things. But we have those funds allocated by June 30th and liquidated before September to use those expiring funds. So the goal is to really get moving on in the next year. So we've had a meeting about it, really kind of move forward here.
And we work really hard to make sure that whatever we do is equitable in all three.
Yeah, that's one of the challenges that we discussed so far is how do we do this at all three locations.
Great. So we feel that by the addition of these clubs, it will help increase attendance. Students are coming to school knowing they're going to take part in these clubs, something that like what they're interested in.
Right.
Just to help with getting kids out of school and getting them back on track. Now we don't want to fully lose what we're doing with test prep portion of time. So I think we'll just schedule that, earlier in the day, maybe a different part of the day, maybe where teachers or students doing a little bit of test as well.
Is that time scheduled every day?
Thunder time is
Yeah.
currently it's between lunches.
Okay. Very good. Any questions on that?
Glad you guys, so it's good opportunity. Yeah, so. A couple of additional information items I want to discuss here that are listed. One is the discussion session. So currently we have signed a contract that we approved a couple months ago for full-time SRO. And we are paying $12 because if you remember last year when we asked for an SRO, the Erie County Commissioners did not pick up the 3 months over the summer like they do for other schools. So the plan right now is continue to have an SRO for 12 months here full time. Margaret has approached us. I shared with you in an email. They would like to return in some form, sharing an SRO. They are having some issues. Kind of a perfect storm. The next pipeline of appeal taking place and being hold the sole project that they're anticipating money coming from is still on hold. And then they just have a lot of kids in school that are out of the building. A lot of kids going remotely to CCD. And when that happens, a lot of funding is following suit, at least this month. So they've come to us asking if they can partner possibly with the SRO. And based upon the feedback so I've received from board members on an individual basis, best we could probably do is 75, 20. If we would share SRO with them, that would be our SRO. He would be for 75% time. We pay for 70%. Margaret paid for 25%. Now Margaret's only interested in having SRO for 9 months, not for 12 months. So that's something we would have to talk to Sheriff Stewart and the county commissioners to see if by them eliminating one or two SRO organizations and then sharing ours, if they would then compensate for 3 months for us, because they're doing that anyways with their 2 of those.
Yeah,
So I wanted to bring that to you for discussion. I know that's one of those topics that you want to, we added that position because we wanted to provide the safest environment as possible for our students. But there's different angles gathered from.
you ever come?
Well, initially I was like, well, we buy a safe, right, we had to have, what did we had purchases that we had to make
We did.
to accommodate what we believe was the best case for Townsend. So initially, I'm like, no, I'll be honest, I'm like, no, this we decided, like, this was we thought was best, but at the time. I'm gonna be helpful to our sponsor, I'm fine with the 75-20. I would really like to see what Erie County has to say about the 3 months. If they could, that would be great. It would be much more agreeable at that point.
I agree.
So if we need that information in front of us, but just that's how I feel. I shouldn't speak for everybody. That's how I feel. Right. And then we'll go from there.
Yeah, if we can negotiate that 3 months that they would have paid for Margaretta and shift that to us, that'd be wonderful. That would be something to explore. I also agree personally that we need to work with the sponsor.
Yes.
And if we can, it's close, this is not an SRO for the elementary, right? It's the SRO next school, the high school.
They would still like to have the full time, that's sort of road in the elementary, because it's a separate campus.
Yeah. And so it's close in terms of proximity and then, you know, then we get the bulk of the time. As long as it suits when we have the most students to build it.
Based upon the discussions that have taken place, our SRO would help out with the morning traffic for Margaret at the end of their day. Would do walk through like before 9 a.m. before we are busing here, and then do another building walkthrough like after 1 o'clock at their site. Now, there's always a possibility that they get called emergency during our busy time, but we try to reduce that. We need our approach here during the business time of the day.
That's my concern, that's just like from the experience of sharing during the nurse and the nursing called over whenever they needed them. I don't want to see a similar situation like that with the SO, because then like not really getting that 5%, we're paying 75%.
Oh, yeah, I think we gotta keep track.
Yeah, that's the part I worry about is that how our disciplinary problems gonna arise aren't an emergency, like they're not a shooter, they want the SR over there for their work. I think that's something to keep in mind, that we make sure that if we're paying for 75%, we are getting 75%. He is really here, the majority of the week.
Right, and that accountability is difficult to track unless you actually write it down every day. How much do I spend time here and how I spend time here? Analyze and evaluate. Okay, we've gone through 2 months of school. This is where SRO percentages are. So you got to change something.
Yeah.
Another thing to factor into this is we had talked about holding it on hiring for the front door monitor, because we're waiting to see where, as we're uncertain after this project where that's certain funds when that budget's be. So we kind of held on posting for front door monitor. And thought was that we were going to try to use our SRO and more accessible at the front door, just to monitor and help breathe. Eileen, who is in the Robin's position, would still help back the numbers in on the buses. So when we're working with the buses as well. So that the SRO would help you kind of replace that front door monitor position. Then again, if they get called over, now we've got to figure out how to shut somebody else.
I'm sorry.
We then have an unmanned door.
Yeah.
Which, there is a closet, like, unless we bought some in, but during our busy times, since it's when we weren't there, is when it's open and the buses are there.
What is our SRO officer, what does our officer say about the feasibility of sharing? Did it?
I have not listed his attention.
I
This-
would need to.
I want to bring it to your attention first, because I know, I don't think Margaret has up there SRO, and that's where the conversation will then go, is from our surveyor, so I want to first bring your attention and then reach back, talk with Mr. Kirk, and then we should probably.
So we're looking at confirming this arrangement in June.
I think that's more discussion right now, I'll get a feel for if this is something we want to explore, and then I can go back and take action in June.
Jackie, do you have any particular thoughts on? Okay. Well, I think we're willing to explore it, look at the negotiating that can be done. Some training mechanisms, so we can be assured of, we need some assurance of some better such that.
We had a lot of expense since that's like, that's the guns on stage, we didn't pay for a quick cruiser.
Yes.
Right.
The initial year, and I feel like we had a lot of upfront expense to be able to add that full time position.
Right.
That's a lot of consideration,
Yeah.
that.
And that it's only a one-year agreement.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
A couple of other areas they were looking at possibly sharing a little bit. There was discussion on the nurse, but at the point that is off the table. They need an RN, some of their students, for the needs of some of their students, where we have an LPN right now, which does not cost much, it's not necessarily there. So that discussion was put aside.
Okay.
Also discussion of having Rick Meyer a little bit more with a couple of their buildings. With like a big building and then we in there, which is something that I think we can probably work with them.
Well, we don't know where it's going yet.
Matt's been started talking about that.
Okay.
Meet with Rick sometime.
All right.
And then finally, okay, this is one, is we have a request here. Ashley and Tara have crossed a conference that they are really excited about. It's taking place on November 30th and December 3rd. And I gave me this last week, and I just had not got around to it yet. Actually, we're having before the meeting. And I had not had a chance to talk about the funding piece with Kelsey. But there's a conference in San Antonio, Texas, November 30th through December 3rd. It's called Mixing. It's been finishing and transforming school climate. They're requesting consideration for this conference. It looks like, if I did the math correctly, cost for the registration, the lodging, the meals, and the airfare is somewhere around $2,625 per person. Now, again, I apologize for not having conversation with Kelsey earlier, but I'm not certain where this would fall in terms of options with the different. So we have for PD, but it is out of state, so it would require board action, which we don't already have to take tonight. Maybe it's something we okay, but we would want to get them, if approved, we want to give them time to schedule a hotel and conference.
Wait, when is the
Well,
time
it
for
is-
registration?
I think, yeah, there's an early bird discount.
Yeah.
And the rooms were discounted too, so it
Yeah.
goes so well. And then it would only, like, it would actually be on our weekend too, so like I know it's 2 days or something, but it's also a Saturday stay.
Yeah.
Is there anything about the Cal fair in terms of what was really, caught your eye?
So it's 4 conferences that merge into one. So there's a piece of it that has to do with FEL, social learning. There is a for care.
No, if you send us this, this link for the conference, and we'll just take a look at it. Could we use student wellness money for this, given the topics?
Take it with the. I can't certainly with EVs under that, I don't know why I feel like it's like. We do a grant that we typically use for development, but I would go through my spreadsheet and verify that we haven't paid for something that's very close to this out of the general fund in the past. I can make sure we're supplement planning, and then also typically we pay for these kinds of purchases out of 590 Title 2A. And our funds this year were pretty low, so 2,600 per person and 5,200, that will take out the majority of those funds. We use them for reasons, so I would need time.
Okay.
Get options.
So as far, I mean, I'm certainly in favor of the conference. And if you could give us the financial information at the next meeting, but we need to see when the early birds is. Those differences in costs are significant with registration for my own business. Did you find it? Tara National.
It's getting there.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck with it all. Goodbye, and thank you. Bye. What it
May
means.
31st.
The first, so we wouldn't take action.
Yeah, so that they could register and then figure out how we're paying for it.
So worst case scenario, it would come out without a budget, right? It's.
That's worst.
Oh,
I mean, like looking at our 5-year forecast and that our response to revenue for the year, it's pretty minuscule.
I guess my thoughts on these kinds of things is we have to stay creative and innovative. And we need constant input in order for that to occur. And nationally, there are wonderful things happening in other schools. And the only way we can find out about them is by attending these kinds of conferences. So personally, I'm in favor.
I'm in favor.
Jackie, in favor.
So make a motion.
Yeah, so we'll motion to approve,
Actually, we can make that the last voting item. We got A, so we can make that.
okay.
Yeah, I'm
We'll
just
do that.
curious.
Would you like us to have steps off do it? I'm sorry, what would you like to line for the conference? Yeah.
Motion to approve. Yeah, she verifies her to 10. I was with the state in here. I don't know if we would put a set amount, because
It can vary that.
With excess.
Yeah, wine, meals. Like
Right.
everything.
Right, you want to include that in the motion, so that it's all part of it.
Well, if you want to put an exact amount, but we could put.
No, but put down what's being covered.
Right.
By this.
then that was the last of my discussion, so I'm gonna move on, if it's okay, to the business. Item A is a resolution to approve board of high school diplomas as the following students upon successful completion of graduation requirements set forth by the state law. Students are listed there. Item B is a resolution to accept the retirement of administrative assistant are effective at the end of July 30, 2023, and to approve her severance pay in accordance with policy 3777. Resolution C, or item C is resolution to acknowledge policy 14 as in conflict policy in its existing form. And I'm going to ask that you sign and date copy that sits in your folder and return that to Kelsey and I, because we do have to scan it for an audit that she was going through. Normally, this is something we do on an annual basis. It's separate from the conflict of interest that Margaret had to go out. This one on our policy, and we went back and looked, and we have to do this also. We're going to have to take care of this tonight.
The grant, all the other stuff. survey, so the last piece that I get uploaded, but it's just uploaded for me, it's not uploaded to the state.
In the tent and door up there. Item D, recommendation to approve memorandum of understanding to reach except for the 2023 school year. The amount is the same as last year. There's $8,000 per month. They've been partners, not just with Tim Moore, who is phenomenal with students and helping us set up different career business and so forth, like the event today, but also Janet Cooper has been phenomenal. She's been helping me in actions in Lorain County in efforts to try to find a location to establish a Townsend location there. We've had some meetings, we've met over Zoom, and we're going to be going to Lorain County in the next few weeks to make more connections with where these conversations are going. So she's been extremely helpful over the last several months. Item E is a recommendation to approve Marty Callis as rest support coordinator 23-24 school year at an amount of $1,500. Item F is a recommendation to approve Ashley Harris as rest center for the 23-24 school year at an amount of $1,000 per person mentor.
Could I ask who is so in because of the rest of?
We have Chadwick, we have Carrie Weedham, and we have Joanna Pias.
Which, with the changes in the route, all be done next year, unless they don't. That's the video part, they moved to a 2-year program instead of 4-year. So even though Joanna is a 4-year, like most programs grandfather you in.
Right.
They were like, no, you need to do it in 2 years. That was weird, and then you did it in the middle of the year, so this year it looked like she didn't submit it. Wasn't really just her, you know what I mean, so she submitted it next year.
The names again, Chad.
Chad Schwoko, Carrie Weedham, and Joanna.
Yeah. Thank you.
Item G then is a recommendation to approve Sarah Summers for a supplemental contract for the position of ELL specialist for the 23-24 school year and about $1,000 pending completion of receive her ELL endorsement. If you remember last month, we had approved helping her with some professional development to become serve in this area, and this would then, upon completion of that certification, then be supplemental to take on that responsibility next year. Item H is a recommendation to Kristen Kovac, supplemental contract position of dean of students for the Fremont Learning Center for 2023 for school year and $3,000. Item I is a recommendation to approve Karen Zirkle for a supplemental contract position of community liaison for the time period May 17th, 2023, which is tomorrow. Give her the opportunity to start tomorrow, aside of her work day, through August 5th of 2023 at an hourly rate of $35 per hour for hours approved by the superintendent that takes outside of her full-time contract with special education center family liaison. And the reason for starting tomorrow is so she can start planning, scheduling meetings for summer, so that come June she can start working on that, but she can actually go out and make those connections. And I'm confident she did a phenomenal in that role for us. Really.
Good. I hope she's excited because it's got a big thing.
Item J then is a recommendation to approve an agreement with Northern Education Council for the purchase of a new robotic computer system at the cost of $49,550 through security net funds as presented. There is a copy of the quote in your folder, and I believe that covers all the expenses right there. Sort of taking a look at that earlier. Then we will need a signature from us tonight on that approved. And then item K is a recommendation to approve our member service agreement with NOECA for the 2023-24 school year at a total cost of $70,180.95 as represented. And this is a little bit more than last, but the reason is that now the final form is not separate finals, it's under the NOECA. So our NOECA payment is covering our costs for That's the main reason that occurs. And then finally, item L, if you have this one written down, we can just discuss. This would be in addition. So it's a motion to approve the conference, for out of conference for Ashley Permis and Jared to attend the conference called Addressing Unfinished Learning and Transform School Climate, November the 30th through December 3rd. This would cover conference registration, lodging, meals, and airfare. San Antonio, Texas. And it's everything, items A through L.
Is there a motion to approve items A through L?
So.
Jackie? Second. Carol. Have the roll, please.
Mrs. Lady,
Yes.
Mr. Plum,
Yes.
Ms. Smith.
Yes. I have, we're not going to, I have no need at this time to go into executive session. But did want to talk over, but I really want to work with all of the board members, so I'll be contacting everybody individually about our meeting times. If we were like, if you were to pick 7.5 versus 4 for yourself in your own schedule, is there a preference?
Depends what scene we're in.
Okay, so you're around things regardless.
Yes, either way. yes.
Either way, okay, very good. I know, work to work for. That's something I think I wanna revisit. I know that Ken probably has the most decisions about that. But I really don't like the idea of inconveniencing school staff to come back, but with, like tonight, we've had their input and it's been very important. So I'd really like to consider that 4 o'clock time and staying there, but I'll talk with him a little bit more about it. But I think for you guys, it really worked out best doesn't have it right after school.
Yeah, I mean, 4 o'clock works well for me. And I know during the summer months, for Kent, it's harder.
Right,
Um,
right.
So
But
for
you know, you're
June,
not gonna factor.
tentatively 7 o'clock or 4 o'clock for June then. I had 7 o'clock written down.
I'll leave it at 7 for now, but we'll have notification if it changes, so let's leave it at that for now. We may even bounce back and forth, you know, to come on. We'll see what we do.
That's a good question. I think we should probably consider moving the location and maybe asking. Maybe at Margaret, if we can get it their office, as a requirement. Well, if they have a rep.
Because of the construction going on, but how is that gonna this room?
It might, I shut the elevator.
They're gonna have,
Okay, so
Because it's safety.
they're gonna have to be working on the computer there, the walls, there's no.
see, I see that as an opportunity for us to see what's going on.
So maybe, and if we see projects going, we see that.
Yeah, let's do that, let's. All right. So I asked for attention to adjourn, you want to versus?
I'll move.
All right. Second, all in favor, opposed, I don't hear anything out. Thank you, everyone.